Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and another episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions and I do ask to answer them. Before we get into the questions this week, I would like to apologize for the weather outside. There is a windstorm of some sort happening. It was really bad last night to the point where it kept waking me up periodically throughout the night thinking my house was going to blow over, and it's still kind of continuing on today. I guess we're getting a bit of a storm. There's not really so much snow or rain or anything like that. Just right now, just lots of wind, which is not very typical for Pennsylvania of all places. So if you hear that, that's just the wind blowing up against my house. So just something I can't really do anything about. So hopefully it doesn't get on the recording. Hopefully it doesn't affect video, and hopefully it will not affect your ability to sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of Dear Nero. We have a number of great questions this week. Keep in mind I'm taking questions not only from YouTube, but also on Twitter. If you'd like to submit your questions for Dear Nero, all you need to do is send me a personal message here on YouTube, or alternatively, you could write me on Twitter at NeroTweets by using the hashtag Dear Nero. Just feel free to go ahead and do either one of those things if you would like to submit your questions for the next episode of Dear Nero. The first question is going to be coming in from Zach on YouTube, who's going to write, Dear Nero, I know this isn't the popular opinion, but I love Call of Duty Ghosts. When Ghosts came out, I was going through a really hard time in my life, and playing Ghosts was the only way I got through it. COD Ghosts was the first game I made a claim, and I had a blast. I have recently gone back and played it, and I am rewatching all of your Ghost YouTube videos. And let me tell you, I am falling in love with this game again. Now here's my question. To me, what makes a game great is how much a person enjoys a game. I enjoyed Ghosts, even though Black Ops 2 is considered a better game. So what game that the community of that game hated have you loved? That's a really weird way to phrase that question. What game did I love that the community or the player base of that game or that game franchise hated? So for me, if I'm going by examples of Call of Duty, mine would be World at War, I think. I think the rest of the Call of Duty games that I really liked, I think everybody else seemed to really like them, with the exception of World at War. Now, I know it's kind of an old example because the game came out in 2008, but that game was not very well received. People really loved Call of Duty 4, and then when World at War came out, not a lot of people liked it. There were tanks in that game. People hated that. There were no camos for you to get. There were only semi-automatic rifles with the exception of one, which was the next to final one that you unlocked. A lot of people just didn't like World at War that much, and a lot of people went back to Call of Duty 4, but for me personally, I loved World at War. That's the thing about gaming. It's all completely subjective. I can like a game and you not like a game, and that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly fine. So for me, for example, I didn't like Call of Duty Ghosts. It wasn't my favorite Call of Duty game. If I had to rank it, it'd be down there. It would definitely be down there in terms of all the Call of Duty games that have come out. I think it would be either the worst one in my opinion or the second worst one that I've played. It's really a toss-up between Modern Warfare 3 and Call of Duty Ghosts. The last two Infinity Ward games, in my opinion, were some of the worst Call of Duty games that have come out. Those are the games that I personally had the least amount of fun in. Now, I try to view these things objectively, like were the kill streaks good, were the guns good, and so on and so forth. And yes, Modern Warfare 3 actually did have some really good kill streaks, it had some really good guns, but ultimately I didn't like the maps, I didn't like the game overall and the way it played. I just didn't like a lot of things about Modern Warfare 3. The same thing kind of happened with Call of Duty Ghosts, although I could go on and give a laundry list of examples as to why I personally didn't like Call of Duty Ghosts. Number one would be the kill feed, number two would be the time to kill, number three would be the lack of a UAV. There's just a number of examples I could actually give you guys, but ultimately it comes down to personal preference, right? It's exactly like you said in your question, what makes a game great is how much a person enjoys the game. I think it's important to see things from other people's perspectives. If I say I didn't like Call of Duty Ghosts, or I didn't like a lot of things in Call of Duty Ghosts, then you talk about how it's a game that you played a lot to escape reality and you just had a lot of fun enjoying that, and then you end up starting up a clan and you found a bunch of cool people to play with and you've been enjoying playing the game with those people and watching YouTube videos, and it brings back a lot of nostalgia for you. That's great. That's awesome. And that's always something to consider when you're talking about a game, is everybody comes at it from a different perspective. Like, to some people are like, no, how could you possibly enjoy that game? There's no redeeming factors about that game whatsoever. But everybody enjoys different aspects of different games and everyone looks at things differently, and that's something that's definitely important to remember when discussing games with other people. The next question is going to be coming in from Carson on YouTube, who is going to write, Dear Nero, I have played Call of Duty since Black Ops 2, and I've never had a kill-death ratio over a 0.5. It's getting really frustrating getting slaughtered every single game. I really don't know what I'm doing wrong. What do you think I should try to do to improve my overall game so I and other not skilled players are not complete potatoes in game. Thank you for posting great content. It is the highlight of nearly every day. Well, Carson, thank you very much. I'm very happy you're enjoying my videos. It's really hard for me to give advice to you as to how to become a better player if I'm not watching you play. It definitely would be easier if I were like sitting in the same room with you, just watching you play. Like, oh no, why'd you turn that corner? There's nobody going to be there. I mean, look at the minimap. They're going to be the opposite direction, right? Oh, yep, that guy outgunned you there. Here's what you can do to improve. It'd be easier if I could actually, watch you play if I was trying to help you out. But it's also at the same time hard to explain what makes a good player, because I found the majority of the time what Call of Duty comes down to is gun skill and instinct. And how in the world do you explain to a new player how to have instinct? It's just something that just happens. It's something that you get over time by playing. You say you've been playing since Black Ops 2, so that's a pretty long time. By now you should have picked up on it, you would think. So I'm going to try and give you some general tips as to how to play, some things that can help you out. Number one, play game mode that you're comfortable in, right? If you're comfortable playing the objective, play the objective. For me personally, I've always been kind of an objective guy. It makes more sense to me if there's an objective. Even if I'm playing a brand new game, like a couple years back, I tried getting into Halo, which RIP that was awful at Halo. But I tried getting into it, right? And I found myself doing better in the objective modes, because I find that in like games like Team Deathmatch and Free For All, for me anyway, I'm not good at those as much as I am at playing the objective. If there's an objective, I generally have an idea where people are going to be. I would generally have an idea of where I need to position myself. If you're playing domination, it's fairly simple. There's going to be action by the B flag. That's just something that's going to happen. If you're playing on Infection here in Black Ops 3, hang out in that house that's next to B. Just hang out there. You're going to get a lot of traffic. Try and hold that down. It's going to help your team hold on to the flag, which is going to help your team win, as well as going to stop the other team and get you a number of kills. That's just something to keep in mind. Or if you're the opposite end of the spectrum, whereas you find yourself having trouble playing the objective, try playing some of the killing respawn game modes like Team Deathmatch and Free For All and stuff like that, where you may be able to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable. Now keep in mind, if you are going to be playing Team Deathmatch and Free For All, one big piece of advice I can give you is to use the sensory deprivation perks, which is a term that some people use here on YouTube. It's basically the perks that make it so other people can't see you or detect you as well. So stuff like dead silence is definitely going to be very important if you're playing stuff like Team Deathmatch and Free For All. That way people can't hear you coming. If you have a gaming headset, I would recommend trying to use awareness, because that'll make it so you can hear other people's footsteps a little bit easier. Try running things like Ghost, try running things like Flak Jacket and stuff like that. That'll make it so you can just kind of walk through explosives. Just basically try to mitigate what other people are trying to do to you. I've given that tip in the past and it still reigns true today. If people are trying to kill you with explosives, don't let them do that. Start wearing Flak Jacket. If people are listening for you and like shooting at you as soon as you turn the corner, then don't let them do that. Start wearing dead silence. If people are constantly putting up UAVs, knowing where you're at, don't let them do that. Start using a silencer. Start using Ghost. Basically, mitigate what other people are trying to do to you. Another tip I can give is to don't try to imitate what you see on YouTube, right? What you see on YouTube, like especially in montages, those are highlights. Not everybody runs around and gets quad feeds with a sniper rifle or a shotgun every single game. It just doesn't happen. Those are highlights. Not everybody gets a 9-man flamethrower kill like I have that's going to be in my upcoming montage. It just, I got very lucky. The spawns were perfect. Just all the stars aligned. It came for an awesome clip. If you want to try to imitate what people do on YouTube, try to imitate the more slow-paced play styles. When you see people using a particular line of sight when covering a certain domination flag, or you see people hanging out in a certain area in free-for-all and kind of patrolling back and forth between two particular spawns, those are things you should try to imitate. Don't try to imitate just running into spawns aimlessly, thinking that's how you play Call of Duty, because when you see people do that, typically either one, they're just trying to get lucky, or two, they actually have a very good idea of where the opposing team is, and they feel as though they have a great idea of where the opposing team is spawning. Like, for example, they may rush into C flag when they know the other team is about to be spawning on A flag, or so on and so forth, right? So basically, the long and the short of it is continue to play, continue to learn, and just do your best and have fun. And if you do that, eventually you're going to get better at the game. That's just something that's going to happen. We all learn at our own pace. Maybe it's taking you a little bit longer than others, but you'll eventually get it. I have faith in you. And if any of you guys in the comments have any suggestions, any quick tips for any of the guys out there as to how to improve at Call of Duty, leave them down in the comments. I think that'll definitely be a very interesting discussion. The next question is going to be coming in from Twister Wilk on Twitter, who is going to write, Dear Nero, do you believe that Infinity Ward will implement a supply drop system in their next Call of Duty and the movement traditional? Now, this is an interesting question. I do feel as though there are going to be supply drops in the next Call of Duty game. The next COD game is slated to be an Infinity Ward game. A lot of people are already rumoring it to be Call of Duty Ghost 2. If it is, cool. If it's Modern Warfare 4, cool. If it's just a completely new IP altogether, cool. Either way, I feel as though supply drops are going to be in that game for a number of reasons. I mean, we saw it in Advanced Warfare, and it worked out really well for Sledgehammer. We saw it here in Black Ops 3, and it's already starting to work out very well for Treyarch. There's already been a number of posts and articles about how much money they're making from these things are exceeding any of their wildest expectations. So people obviously want these things. People are okay with buying them, and they're obviously okay with putting out more and more things into supply drops. And I have no doubt that we're going to be seeing more stuff entering supply drops here in Black Ops 3 as well. It just seems silly for them not to do it. I mean, if they're making this much money off of it, off of cosmetic stuff the majority of the time, with some of it being actual weapons, then they're probably going to have that in their next game. That's just going to be an inevitability in my own opinion. Now, you mentioned the movement in the next game being traditional. Now, what a lot of people consider traditional movement to be would be boots on the ground, no double jumping, no jetpacks, no exosuits, no running on the wall and things like that. I don't think that's going to happen either. To be perfectly honest, I think the next Infinity Ward game is going to be a lot like Black Ops 2. I think it's going to be a lot like Advanced Warfare. I feel as though supply drops are going to be a big part of that game. Will there be weapon variants like we saw in Advanced Warfare? I have no idea. I mean, if they may not. I really don't know. It depends on if they liked the system that they saw Sledgehammer working with. I do feel as though, however, they are going to have a new movement system of some description. We're either going to be running on walls, or we're going to be running faster. We're going to have some sort of special abilities. Like, I don't feel as though we're going to go back to like a Modern Warfare 2 or a Black Ops 1 style of movement. I feel as though it's going to be something new still. I think that's just going to be a recurring trend in future Call of Duty games. I think it's just something we're going to have to learn to deal with. That's just my own personal thoughts. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think the next Infinity War game's going to have supply drops and a new movement system? Because I do. I mean, the past two games have. Why would Infinity Ward jump off that train? I feel as though Infinity Ward, of all people, are going to continue along that same line of thinking. They're going to try to expand somehow upon the movement system that we've seen in the past two games, and they're probably going to try to expand somehow on the idea of a supply drop system. It just, in my eyes anyway, I feel as though that's going to be the case. Now, of course, we'll learn more about this new Infinity Ward game as the months go by, as we get closer and closer till next November, and we learn more about Infinity Ward's next game. But just, if I had to make a prediction, I would say, yeah, there's probably going to be supply drops in that game, and they're probably going to have a new movement system of some description. I don't think we're going to have a Black Ops 2, a Black Ops 1, a Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2 style movement system. I think it's going to be something new and innovative, probably along the same lines that we saw with Advanced Warfare or possibly Black Ops 3. The next question is going to be coming in from Pride Plays on Twitter, who's going to write, Dear Nero, what are your opinions of the Vesper after patch now that we've had time to use it? P.S. I watch your videos every day. Thank you, Pride, for continuing to support me and my channel by watching my videos every single day. It really means a lot, and I'm hoping that you find the videos entertaining and you enjoy your time watching them. So, what are my thoughts on the Vesper after the patch, after it's been nerfed and we've had a little bit of time to use it? Now, I'm somebody who never used the Vesper a bunch. I think I talked about that too. I didn't use the Vesper a lot when people considered it to be overpowered. Just, I never thought it was that great of a gun. I would use it occasionally, didn't think it was that great. I would rarely die to it, but at the same time, a lot of people were dying to it all the time in competitive Call of Duty, which is the reason why they eventually decided to nerf it. Now, how they decided to nerf the Vesper, if you guys will know, is they gave it a bunch of recoil, and they also increased its hipfire spread, making it so it's less accurate while hip firing. So essentially, it got 2 accuracy nerfs. And as somebody who got diamond submachine guns, I'm going to be talking about the Vesper in my diamond submachine gun video as well. As somebody who did all those challenges for the Vesper, essentially after the patch, like I didn't do any of those challenges before it was nerfed, back when it was easier to use. As somebody who did all the challenges then, it's still a pretty viable weapon, although it is kind of difficult to use at the same time. So the recoil is real, guys. The recoil is nuts. It kicks really hard. Especially if you're not used to recoil and you're not used to a weapon that can kick that much, you're going to have a little bit of difficulty while trying to aim down sights with that weapon. But if you put extended mags on it, you put a foregrip on it, you kind of pop fire it a little bit, the Vesper can be ridiculously good still, especially if you're in super close quarter situations, because even though they nerfed the hipfire spread by making it more inaccurate, it's still an amazing bullet hose at close range. You don't even have to aim, you just hipfire and it's just so easy, guys. It's so easy to get kills with it at close range, because that's what it's for. It's a super high fire rate submachine gun, and it's very good at what it does. It will spray people down very well close range, but it does suffer at those medium to long ranges where other SMGs can't compete. So that's kind of the balancing factor of the Vesper. I feel as though it's actually in a pretty good spot. I like where it is right now, whereas again, it's very good close range, aim down sights or hip firing, but it's pretty weak, pretty mediocre at medium range, and it's just completely almost unviable at long ranges. And I think that's exactly where they wanted the weapon to be, and that's exactly where it is right now. So I like it. After the nerf, I think it's actually a pretty balanced gun. I think it's in a pretty good spot, and I'm definitely interested to see what you guys think about the Vesper down there in the comment section below. But of course, I'll talk more about that as well as the rest of the submachine guns in my Diamond Submachine Guns video. The next question is going to be coming in from Theodore on YouTube, who's going to write, Dear Nero, appearing offline is coming to PlayStation 4. You said it was one of the reasons that you favorite the Xbox One. Will you start playing or play more on the PlayStation 4 now? So that is a feature that's coming. I have heard about that, but it's just not something that's really going to make me want to play my PlayStation 4 even more. I'm always somebody who basically picks something and then sticks to it, and I've picked the Xbox. I picked the Xbox 360 even way back when, and I've always just been an Xbox guy ever since then. I'm somebody that really likes my gamer tag. I like my gamer tag. I like my account. I like my gamer score. I like my friends list. I like the fact that all my friends actually play on the Xbox, and for all those reasons, I'm going to continue to be an Xbox player, regardless of how good the PlayStation 4 is or how many new features they come up with. I'm still just going to play on the Xbox because that's the platform I've always played on, and that's also the platform my friends play on, which at the end of the day, I enjoy playing video games with my friends, and if that's where they are, then that's where I'm going to play. There's definitely a lot of upsides to the PlayStation 4. It's a great console. It's a great system. I own one, for crying out loud. I know how good it can be, but just for me, I like playing where my friends are. I like having my gamer score. I like having my gamer tag, and just I'm always going to continue to play on the Xbox. It's a platform I like. That's the platform I chose, and that's the platform I'm going to continue to play on. The next and final question is going to be coming in from Andre on YouTube, who's going to write, Dear Nero, what is your favorite specialist weapon in Black Ops 3? What's your favorite specialist ability? Do you have any hero armor yet? And do you plan on going for hero armor? So there we go. We have 4 questions essentially to end off the episode here, all from Andre. So the first one, what was my favorite specialist weapon in Black Ops 3? I would say my favorite specialist weapon would be a tie between the Reaper's Sight, which is obviously a minigun, basically a death machine coming out of your arm, which is very cool, and the Firebreak's Purifier, which is a flamethrower, which just melts everybody, and it's so much fun to use. The next question was, what was my favorite specialist ability? And I would say that the cloak that you can use for Spectre is probably my favorite specialist ability, because the ability to go invisible is so much fun to mess around with, but at the same time, there's a lot of great abilities among all of the specialists here in Black Ops 3. I'm actually really liking Rune's ability. I like being able to go very, very fast and just run from point A to point B very, very quickly. That's definitely something that's pretty fun to do. Do I have any hero armor yet? I do. I actually have hero armor for the Reaper, and I'm almost done with Firebreak's hero armor challenges as well, and that kind of answers your 4th question. Do I plan to go for hero armor? I am, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go for hero armor on every single specialist. I think I might just do it for the specialist that I really like playing with. So for example, Reaper, I said back in the beta he was my favorite specialist, and that still reigned true into Black Ops 3, but the problem with that was I ended up actually getting all of the challenges done for all of his gear like right away as soon as the game came out, so I basically stopped using him for a while because I wanted to complete all the challenges for all the other specialists to unlock hero armor, right? Or at least unlock the challenges for hero armor. So I did that. I got Reaper done right away. Then I finished off all the rest of the people. And then as soon as I got the hero armor challenges unlocked, I immediately went back and started using Reaper. And I got all the challenges done for him. And so now I have a gold Reaper, which looks pretty cool. And yeah, hero armor is a pretty cool idea. It's a very interesting idea, in fact, that they would add in specialists to the game, then add all this extra stuff on top of it, all these extra challenges and whatnot. It's just another layer that Treyarch has added to Black Ops 3 to continue to make the community want to continue to play their game. Not only do we have 1,000 levels of Prestige Master, but we also have gold camo and diamond camo and dark matter camo, and now we have this hero armor, which will give us gold camo essentially on all of our specialists. And of course, we have the campaign and zombies. There's just so much to do in Black Ops 3, and this is just another layer, going for these awesome challenges for your specialists that could get you some really cool and awesome looking gear. It's another layer, man. Black Ops 3 is a game that has seemingly infinite content, and I'm definitely enjoying completing all the challenges this game keeps continuing to throw at me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to conclude this week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and if you did, please drop me a rating. It helps the video grow and it helps my channel grow as well. And like I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, if you guys would like to submit your questions for the next episode of Dear Nero, all you need to do is send me a personal message here on YouTube, or you can tweet me on Twitter at NeroTweets using the hashtag Dear Nero. Submit your question, and next Wednesday I will go through all the questions and pick out a couple of them to feature on the show. Nothing too complicated about that. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Drop me a rating, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.